Hey guys, happy Friday. It's Joe. We have made it to Friday. This is Picks and Props with Joe. Now I have two stellar guests coming in today. Gonna start the show with Dave Rogers from Picks from Dave all over Twitter. You guys have to give him a follow. And then I'm gonna follow it up with Coach James Young. We're gonna talk picks and props for today or the weekend, whatever these handicappers are looking to bring in. So let's welcome Dave to the show. Dave, how's it going?
Howdy, it's going great. It's Friday. It's the freaking weekend, R. Kelly.
It's the freaking weekend. We need to put that song on. I think that should be in the background playing right now. We know Argentina and Netherlands are just going at it right now. Any updates?
109 minutes in. Our ball's on the Netherlands side. Argentina's driving. Goal kick going the other way. So no, great game. But game before was great. The World Cup started so slow, and these past couple games have been so good. So I love it.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be exciting getting down to that next level as well. What have you got in the NBA for us tonight, Dave?
Yep, I do like one game in the NBA tonight, and it's between the Raptors and the Magic. And it seemed, the Magic are bad. We know that. We'll say this: we're rebuilding. Paolo Banchero is a dude. I think he'll be a superstar. I hope he isn't locked in to a horrible team, either the Magic, build up, or he gets, go somewhere else, because he can flourish, I think. But anyways, the thing about the Magic, though, is they're constantly disrespected at home. And they're a really good cover team at certain times of the season, or just in certain swings where the books, for whatever reason, I think are getting the lines wrong. And currently they're 8-6 ATS at home. 8-4 is a home dog. And the Raptors are absolutely horrible on the road. Well, I'll say recently 5-7 on the season ATS, but 1-6 their last 7, and 1-3 as road favorite. So they don't play the road favorite role very well. So you have a team that's not a good road favorite and a team that's a pretty good home favorite. Put aside what you think about the teams or their records or anything, and you're giving me 8 points. I'm taking 8 points with the Magic for sure tonight.
It definitely is a lot of points. We saw it move up by that half a point, opening at 7.5. It's hard not to back the Magic in this one. Any thoughts on the total? That's where we've seen the biggest jump. It did open at 220, now up to 220.5 or 222.5. We have seen the Magic giving up those points, especially at home, averaging right around that 115 points allowed at home. But can the Toronto Raptors, who play at a slower pace, push this one to that over, do you think, Dave?
That's exactly what I was thinking. The Magic, at least the last couple of years, have been an over team, especially when they're playing Western Conference teams. Toronto is kind of a grab bag and strange. Sometimes they're, I guess I'm basing it off of the beginning of this season and the end of last season. I couldn't get a gauge on their totals, and they do play slower. So I'll stay away from a Toronto total. But, Magic, usually I lean towards the over. They don't play defense.
Yeah, this total just getting that little bit high, moving up 2.5 points. It's hard to look at that over now. For me, I think you maybe missed the best of the number if you like to chew that over, not getting it at 220. Dave, before we go on to what else you're liking, can you let everyone know? I know we can follow you at Picks from Dave on social media, but can you let everyone know about your YouTube show and what you've got going on?
Yep. So I have a YouTube channel. I do free picks every night. I also, my picks on free picks on Twitter, they're also put out the night before. So you have enough time to sort of think about it. But I do run a show on Fridays. It is tonight. It'll be at 6:30 Eastern Standard Time. It's called The Nerd and the Turd. And it's a pick show, basically, where me and my friend Hammer Poop, that's his nickname, his real name is Chris. We have two different handicapping styles. I'm more of the nerdy trends and stats and typical type bottom up type of capper. He's more of a top down. Where can I find the stinkiest, smelliest line? He's taken Kansas State against TCU. He's taking just things that don't make sense. Yeah. And so we put both of those capping styles together, and we give out our best picks for the weekend, 3 to 5 picks. And today will be our third show. So
yeah, and you guys are absolutely crushing it over there. So your YouTube is Picks from Dave as well, Dave?
I'm Picks from Dave everywhere.
That is great. I love the consistency of that and the consistency of your picks, Dave. I know you've been absolutely crushing it. Do you have anything else for us today, or are we going to move on to the weekend?
I've got another pick here. I really like the Niners on Sunday. Tom Brady is, first of all, you can see when he throws how labored he is. I mean, everyone's all like, oh, when's the downfall? When's the downfall? We're seeing it this year. He's still able to come back. We've seen drives where he's marched down the field and failed to punch it in. And we saw last week against the Saints, which is a mediocre team at best. He did that. But the bottom line is, I don't know where they're going to score points. Tampa Bay averages 18 points a game, but the Niners only give up 15.8 points a game. So basically you have a team that isn't scoring versus a team that isn't giving up touchdowns or points at all. And they've only covered, the Bucs have only covered the spread one time in their last 10 games. They pushed once, they won once, and all the rest they lost against the spread. So, I mean, 3.5, I don't like the hook. I never like a hook, but I guess you can't be scared because I index this on my index as a Niners as a 6-point favorite. So, you have a team that
we saw Tom Brady in that phenomenal comeback win. Really looked like last night's game as well, what we saw with Baker Mayfield coming back. What are we going to do with Tom Brady in this one, though? Like, how can the 49ers stop him from pulling off the same sort of thing? Because we know that the 49ers won't have Jimmy G here, Jimmy G out for playoffs. What do you think their best strategy is against Tom Brady?
They don't. Well, okay. So two things. One is against Tom Brady. I mean, he still has the mind, but his body's not there. It's a typical old man syndrome. That's what happens when you're old, and then your mind goes. But
how old is Tom Brady now? 42?
He's in it. I think he's 44, 45. When I say that,
44,
okay, in
45?
life, that's perfect.
Mine's going.
Well, I mean, in
I know
years, he might as well be dead. That's how old he is. I mean, he's ancient.
And he's showing it. You're right.
But his mind is still there. I just think the Niners just need a game manager. Jimmy G's a good game manager. Brock Purdy, we don't know. But the game plan is run the ball, play defense, run the ball, play defense. And they're not going to get up big on you. But if Tampa Bay can't stop them, it's 7, it's 3, it's 7, it's 3. And then just rack the points up while the Niners just shut them down. 3 and outs.
Absolutely. And I would be looking at Brady to throw that interception again. We saw it come in versus the Saints. That came in beautifully, even before the half was over. So we weren't sweating that one out. It's only, 3 on the season, but against this defense of the 49ers, I could see it coming in. We know what talent they have. Nick Bosa, look for him for those sacks to come in. Is there anyone on the defense that you would single out and look for in this match?
First of all, Bosa's their dude and Greenlaw's their dude. Their secondary is good enough. They're 12th against the pass in the NFL, so they're slightly above average. They're number 1 versus the run. So Tampa Bay is going to have to throw the ball. But what you're going to see and why this is a good interception and why it can go to anyone is they're going to get pressure on Tom Brady and they're going to hit him while he's throwing and the ball's going to go up in the air like a duck fart and someone's going to snatch it. So.
Like a duck fart. That is a great way to explain how that ball's going to fly. Now, I know you have an opinion on this Army and Navy game with the season coming to an end before we get into the bowl games here. Notoriously low total here. What is it? 32.5 now? I've seen movement everywhere. Where are we going with this one? Army, Navy, who are you taking? What are you betting?
So the under has been 16 games in a row. We know that. And if the total was 32.5 in those games, it would be 9-7 to the over. So right around 500. And the other thing that's kind of concerning, besides being so low, is Army put up 48 versus Louisiana Monroe, 44 versus UMass, 42 versus Colgate, 38 versus UTSA, 34 versus UConn. They put up points. The score of the Air Force game, the other academy, 7-13. Navy, 51 points, 34 points, 32 points. When they played Air Force, 10-13. When these teams play each other, it's just a grind it out. We're only going to run. We're going to go for it on 4th down. That's what's going to happen. I don't think it reaches 30. I wish it was like 38 or 36, but I'm taking the under, and I'm actually not that scared of it. Like I said, I don't think this gets to 30.
No, like you said, when these two teams face off, we know Navy can put up the points. We know Army can put up the points, and at a fast rate, even with their run game. But you're right. This is a game in the trenches, these teams playing each other so brutally hard. Which side would you have more confidence in this one? We know Navy didn't open up as such a big favorite. The line shifted. Army was the favorite, laying 1 point or a pick 'em. Now Army +2, -2.5 +2.5, -2.5 for Navy.
I would. Here's the thing. So the Navy's first string quarterback is out. The Army's first string quarterback has a hurt hand. The problem is the quarterback really doesn't matter because they don't throw the ball. And they also play, sometimes they play 2 and 3 quarterbacks, with the running back's a quarterback, like a Wildcat. So if I had to lean away, I'd actually take Army, who has the points. But these teams are identical, even with how they played other teams. I'm not going to be betting side.
Yeah, definitely. It's a hard situation to bet the side. And with that lower scoring game, how can you not grab those points there when you think it's going to be so low? This is going to be a back and forth battle. Dave, any thoughts on the upcoming bowl season with players sitting? Are you going to be cautious betting these bowl games?
Yeah, and that's why I don't have any bowl picks. I'm doing a bowl show next week. I'm doing another bowl show on another channel, and it's already gotten weird over the past few years, but especially now with NIL and the transfer portal. I'm capping this differently. I'll do my indexes like I do, but I'm really going to have to dive in and see who's playing and who's not, or who cares. Because some of these, like USC, my alma mater, they didn't win. They didn't go to the college football playoff. They're not going to the Rose Bowl. They're going to the Cotton Bowl. And if I was on their team, I wouldn't care. I just wouldn't care about it. So, while other schools would be elated to go there. Yeah. So this is going to be a different year. But I'm always excited for, football every day for 2 weeks. I mean, hell yeah.
Yeah, it's absolutely fantastic. Is there a game in particular that you can't wait to watch?
No, because my team's out.
All of them.
So I'm just going to cap them.
Who's your team, Dave? I don't even know your team.
USC.
Oh, I didn't realize that. Yeah. Okay. Well, we've got the Heisman this weekend. We got lots of great stuff going on. Any thoughts on the Heisman winner? Well, Williams?
Yeah. Who else? And by the way, usually, this is another thing too that always bothers me. People, you got to be able to bet against your team. This is 1 year, and this is why it's even more heartbreaking for me. This is the first year that I didn't bet against them once because I had them as the best team, or as the best team first half, or Caleb Williams props. This is the first year I could bet on them, and that's why it's double disappointing to me. I was making money and winning.
Man, it's hard betting against your team or with your team. That is for sure. Hats off to you, Dave. Okay, so your show kicks off tonight. What time is it tonight? And remind everyone where to find you.
6:30 Eastern Standard Time. Nerd and the Turd on Picks from Dave, YouTube, and it'll be on Twitter. Picks with me and my buddy Hammerpoop.
I will be swinging by to say hi, Dave. I want to thank you so much for joining us here. All the best in all your bets. Make sure you crush it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, you guys, that was Dave Rogers. Go give him a follow-up Picks from Dave. He is putting out so much free content. You don't want to miss out on everything he's got going on. Now, we are going to have Coach James Young here in a moment, just waiting for him to get set up here. We're going to look at a couple of these games for this weekend. Now, Dave touched on that Tampa Bay San Francisco game. I'm going to look at, let's see which one. Let's look at the Kansas City Chiefs taking on the Denver Broncos while we wait for Coach James Young to come in here. Now, Kansas City coming in off that loss versus the Bengals. They are going to be upset in this one, 9.5-point favorites facing the Denver Broncos, where we know Russ can't cook. He's just absolutely struggling in this one. This spread is large, though, at 9.5. And while I do think that Kansas City comes in here and really steamrolls over the Denver Broncos, I don't know if I can get behind laying 9.5 points with Kansas City, although they should win it. They just haven't been phenomenal at covering that spread, going 3-8 and 1 against the spread this season. What I do like here, though, is to look at Denver's defense. We know they are the strength of this team. Offensively, this team is completely falling apart. Russell Wilson not able to get anything done. Their team total last week in their loss was only 14.5. We hit it under, we made money. This week it's coming in at 16.5. I still like it to that under. I don't see how Russell Wilson's going to be able to get this ball moving against the defense of the Kansas City Chiefs. I think 2 touchdowns at most. If he has a lights out game, that's a lights out game for the Denver Broncos at the moment, because this team is not getting anything done. So give me here the Denver Broncos team total under 16.5. And then let's look at another one here. Still just waiting for Coach Young here. So stay with me, you guys. Another one I'm looking at. Let's look at the New York Jets. The New York Jets are taking on the Buffalo Bills. Now we know the New York Jets already got this win once this season over the Buffalo Bills. That was with Zach Wilson. Now they're coming in here with Mike White. I think they have every opportunity to pull off this win again. I'm going to take them plus those 10 points. It is so many points here. And yes, the Buffalo Bills are the better team, but the New York Jets really seem to have their number. I have to grab them plus the points. The line keeps moving up in this one. With Von Miller out for the Buffalo Bills, this was a huge loss for this team defensively. We know it is a strong team. Josh Allen's elbow hasn't been giving him any concerns as of late, but I do see this one being one of those games that he does. We're going to penalty shootout. I love that. I had this game going to penalty shootout. I'm so glad you told me that. It was a big weight off my shoulder. Keep me posted on how this one goes. I really did think Argentina would win this one. Don't have a bet on it. I did have it going to shootout though. Okay, so Mike White, I trust in him so much more than Zach Wilson. I think the Jets have every opportunity. I can't not sprinkle on this one. I'm going to grab them plus those 10 points. The next matchup, let's look at another one here while we wait for Coach Young. The Cincinnati Bengals taking on the Cleveland Browns. Now, we saw Deshaun Watson come out for the Cleveland Browns in that last match. I'm saying match because I've been talking too much soccer. In that last game versus the Houston Texans. He looked absolutely terrible out there. I really hope Deshaun Watson eats a lot of dirt in this one. I'm looking for the Cincinnati Bengals to come out so strong. Cincinnati is definitely a team that I think can get to Super Bowl, and rightly so. This team is so strong. Their offensive line is coming in phenomenal. So give me the Cincinnati Bengals laying those 5.5 off that big win over KC. I don't think it's kind of a bad spot for them. I think they roll with so much momentum. Coach James Young is back in the green room, so we're going to bring him in right away, you guys. Let's see what he's got for us. Coach, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Joe. Thanks for having me. Hopefully you can hear me. We're trying this on my phone for the first time. I'm on my old stomping ground at Monmouth University, about to go watch King Rice and the men practice. So it's always great to be on with you.
That is awesome. It sounds like a lot of fun. You're coming in great from your phone. That color looks amazing on you too, I have to say.
Thank you. The lighting's very good at the Ocean First Bank Center. So it's good to be back in Monmouth. I haven't been here in a couple of years.
There's nothing better than being on camera with good lighting. You can't have that. Bad lighting, that's for sure. We all know that, Coach, in this industry. You've got some exciting things going on. Tell everyone what's new and exciting in your life.
So I was lucky enough to be signed by Tim Scanlon and Octagon Sports. Octagon Sports is one of the leading sports agencies in the country. Tim Scanlon is a former executive at ESPN, and he's the vice president of the broadcasting part of their company. So I signed with him a couple of weeks ago, just kind of making the announcement out there now, with the intent of still doing Sports Grid and everything I'm doing the same, but trying to get myself out there a little bit more. Just because we feel, Tim and I, that we've talked about that, I just bring a little bit of a different perspective to the sports gambling space as a former coach. I just kind of break things down a little bit differently than others. It's a lot more than just the analytical piece. It's a lot of the scouting piece, things that I see as I've coached, trends, stuff like that. So the goal is to try and get me out there a little bit more. Still, Sports Grid is my main thing. I love working with those guys, and will continue to be on, almost every night with Gabe and Cam. And then I have my spots with Pharrell, which will pick up after the Super Bowl. I'm sure Betting Above the Rim may come back after the Super Bowl. So I'm still going to do a lot of Sports Grid stuff, but I may do some other stuff on the side as well.
Coach, I love what you're doing. The world needs more of you out there, because I do love how you break down these games. I was so excited to see that news. So congratulations to you.
Thank you.
Okay.
You know what? There's a lot of really great people, including yourself, in this space. It's about opportunities for people like you and I to be seen by the masses, because I think we all give a lot of great content.
Absolutely. Okay, you got any NBA, NCAA basketball picks or anything for us for tonight or the weekend, Coach?
Well, I usually wait, Joe, for about 5:30 or so, shortly after 5:30 to post my NBA picks, because I try to wait as late as I can to get the 5:30 injury report. Just so you know,
Yeah.
folks, every half hour, the 30 past hour, I should say, the NBA releases injury reports. So I like to wait for the 5:30 report because we're looking at about 90 minutes before the start of the 7 p.m. game. So look for my scouting report to come out for the NBA about 5:30, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. But in the college game, I do like Washington plus 16.5 at Gonzaga. Washington's a very good team. They beat a very good St. Mary's team, who is one of, if not the biggest rival to Gonzaga in the WCC. Beat them by 4. They're playing really well. And Gonzaga has struggled. Their guard play has been spotty, folks. Got to remember, they lost Nemard. They lost another kid. You know, they have Drew Timme, but they also lost Chet Holmgren. So they're struggling at the guard spot a little bit. So give me Washington plus 16.5 at Gonzaga.
I love it. That's so many points there. They should get that cover, Coach. I want to thank you so much for jumping on here with me. Enjoy watching practice. That's going to be a lot of fun for you. Any other plans this weekend? Anything exciting happening?
You know, I'll probably have a lot of scouting reports out over the course of the weekend, but you know what it is. It's it's daddy time. So I actually came to mom because my older one swims here now, and she practices as a 9-year-old. So I dropped her off. I'm gonna go watch practice, go pick her up, do my research, and get ready for the NBA slate tonight. And then I'll get my picks out. I'll try to get my college picks out before about 10, 11 o'clock tomorrow, because obviously games start at noon. There could be multiple scouting reports because there's so many games in the weekend. And then obviously I'll get my NBA stuff in the afternoon.
Awesome, Coach. Where can everyone find those picks and everything else you got going on? I see you got TikTok. You're rocking it over there. I love when your videos pop up.
That's one of the one things Tim was like, you got to get TikTok. I said, oh, God, really? At Coach Young NJ on Twitter, at Coach Young NJ on TikTok, JRY02 on IG. So I'll always post all my picks everywhere on those 3 platforms. Go ahead and take a look. And then obviously I always tell people, even on Twitter, you have a question. I'm not one of those people. I know I've been where everybody's been, so if you got a question, drop me a DM on Twitter. I'll always try to answer what I can and try to give everybody the most informed advice as possible.
Coach, thank you so much. You guys make sure you send him a DM if you got any questions. Go give him a follow. I wish you all the continued success in the world. Enjoy practice and everything you got going on this weekend.
Thanks, Joe. It's always a pleasure to be on with you. And if I don't talk to you, have a happy holiday.
Oh, have a happy holidays. I'm sure we'll be talking. We'll talk soon.
Thanks, Joe. Take care.
Thank you. You guys, that was Coach James Young. You have to go give him a follow. He's doing absolutely incredible in this space. You can catch him on Sports Grid, like he said, all the time. I want to thank you guys for joining me here on Picks and Props. We had Dave Rogers on as well. If you're just joining me, you have to give him a follow as well. 2 of the nicest guys in the industry able to come on today's Picks and Props show. We will be back. That was my dog sneezing. Next Friday at the same time, 4:30 Eastern here. Just depending on the number of guests we have popping on will depend on how long the show goes. You guys, I'll give you a couple picks next week as well. If you're looking for anything on the ice tonight, the Calgary Flames are taking on the Columbus Blue Jackets. One I talked about on a Puckett with Joe. I think the Columbus Blue Jackets team total over 2.5 is great value tonight at plus 104. We saw the Columbus Blue Jackets really dig back in that game versus the Sabres, able to put up 4 goals. And we've had goaltending and defensive issues out of the Calgary Flames. They have struggled on the road so far this season. Columbus has Johnny Gaudreau, who used to play for the Calgary Flames. I think he comes out with a little bit of a chip on his shoulder because we have seen him put out media releases that he didn't leave Calgary and leave them hanging, that everyone had fair warning. So I think there's a little bit of a battle there between them. So I'm going to take the Columbus Blue Jackets team total over 2.5. That being said, I do think Calgary gets a win. Their team total over 3.5 is too highly juiced there. So I'm not hitting that. But if you guys want all of my picks in the NHL, make sure you go over, watch Picks and Props with Joe. If you don't want to watch the full show, I will bookmark it after I'm finished on this show. You can jump to the recap, which is within those last 10 minutes of the show, you guys. That bookmark will be up as well as the bookmarks for this show. Again, thank you for joining me here on Picks and Props with Joe. I appreciate each and every one of you. Make sure you hit that like button and subscribe to the show so you don't miss out on any of the content coming out here on the Joe Madden Sports Show. You guys have a great day. Keep smiling. Let's make some freaking money this